Duperas y Duperas. Today on DOOP by the River, we're going to look back at that Chicago showdown that ended in a draw for Philadelphia Union. Of course, we're also going to be looking ahead at this upcoming Saturday. Toronto, the boys from Canada are coming down here to Subaru Park, and we're going to look at that matchup. And don't you dare go anywhere, because you do not want to miss this episode of DOOP by the River. And let's get it started, guys. Done!
DOOP by the River
doesn't do anything well. There is not one.
I'm sorry. There was no creativity.
As a Union fan, I take that all day.
Another DP. We need to go get Mario Balotelli. And that is right. Welcome, everyone, to DOOP by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union. And, of course, we are brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Before we dive into today's episode of DOOP by the River, we want to welcome everybody, whether you're live from El Parcero Phillies YouTube channel or our Twitter account. Welcome on in. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Subscribe for more live viewings of DOOP by the River. Of course, you can find us as well wherever you stream podcasts. Find us under DOOP by the River podcast. And, of course, throw us a little follow as well if you're here on Twitter live. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my expert in duping, Justin Glesnes, Rocket Division, Freiburg. Justin, what's happening, brother? Welcome on back, man.
Appreciate it. You know, it's as I was saying, you know, before I took a little break from watching our boys in blue, which I know, you know, breaking news that this is the instead of the Boge bomb, this is the Berg bomb. I did not watch this game live. I was, as I said, down the shore for one of my best friends' birthdays. Had a great time. You know, went to a few breweries, did a ghost tour, had some nice food, some nice. Let's have a little rain. It was some good weather. But you know, listen, I'm back in the soccer vibes. You know, I've been watching. Champions League this week. Been watching some. Was watching the Man U WSL, the women's team beating Arsenal 1-0. All right, let's go. Top of the league, baby.
Let's go.
Currently watching the NWSL Challenge Cup. We got the Houston Dash and Casey Current on right now. So listen, I'm back in the swing of things. So let's go.
As my beautiful girlfriend would say, when does it ever end? Well, babe, it never ends. So that is the beautiful game of soccer.
It's never over.
It is never, ever over, my man. I'm actually a little upset because I was banking on Benfica pulling the upset against Inter Milan, and, you know,
that
that's
was
not going to happen.
Barn burner. 3-3. Damn.
It got that close. So I kind of, because they went down in What was it? It was the first leg in Milan, or was it in Lipson?
It was in Portugal.
It was in Portugal. Okay, right. So yeah, they put 2 goals and with away. So I was like, it's over. But yeah, I was banking on that. So I don't know what to watch. I think Porto plays next Wednesday. I'm going to be in Portugal. For anyone who doesn't know, I'll be in Portugal with my lovely girlfriend for a week. So I definitely need to watch some Portuguese soccer. So, Justin, well, first off, I take your opinion very highly. Especially
listen, we'll talk about it off air. Tell me what the game plan is. Trust me, I do my soccer research. When I was in Germany, I made sure that I Googled what any leagues were playing, how close they were to where we'd be, and so listen, I am your expert guide to soccer travel. So
I'll even watch like the Burnley of Portugal. Like, I don't care. I just want to feel it. I want to feel it. You know what I mean?
I watched the second division game. I've been since 2018. I've been a Greutherfurt fan because I watched them live, and that was
that's what
insane atmosphere. Like, it was awesome.
Oh man, yeah. So I'm still in the air. I definitely want to watch some soccer, buy a kit or two. But yeah, I'm definitely excited for that. But you know, speaking of kits, it's going to be the perfect little segue here for us here, Justin, because of course, we had the new announcement here of the new parlay kits, which I want to get to that in just a second, my thoughts and my opinion on that. But I'm trying to pull up the picture here of this year's new parlay kits here for the Philadelphia.
So I saw the photo shoot. Where exactly?
Dude, seriously, where is that?
Because I know they dropped like the location on the pit, but I'm like, I don't think I've ever heard of it.
I mean, Philadelphia is the capital of murals here in the United States.
No, it's true. It's funny enough. Someone mentioned that. What podcast was I listening to? That like someone straight up mentioned that Philadelphia is like the podcast like capital of
the podcast capital.
or sorry, mural capital. Like the
I was
amount
like,
of
whoa,
murals they have. No, that would be one. Damn, I straight up can't remember where I was what I was listening to.
Okay, so I do have the picture here. So
it was Preston. I was listening to WMMR. That's why I knew it was.
that's how you knew. That's how you knew. You know what? This might be. Is this Graffiti Park? See, I
thought they dropped it in the. I know they dropped it on the IG post.
So Justin, you being our honorary kit man here on Dude by the River podcast, give it to us straight, man. How do you feel about this?
Listen, I'm not gonna get it. I think, and that's it for me. I will say for people that isn't an indicator on whether you should buy it or not, or whether it's a good looking jersey. I just lately I've been like, I may not even buy this year's away kit because again, if I'm hearing the rumors about next year's home kit, it's supposed to be fire. So I'm holding out. It's actually honestly, it's not as bad as some of the prior parlay kits. Like, I like that if you go to the closer photos, you can actually see a bit of the detail, and it says what's it, plastic waste. It has a lot of the right.
This is the one you're talking about.
Yeah, so you see the plastic waste. It has like plastic waste, and it incorporates more of the message of recycling in the parlay jersey, like the whole point of the parlay jersey. Where in the past, the Union have always had the wrong one that I've always wanted, but this, I will say I like that the focus on the main of the jersey is dark, and then the shoulders are the accents. Like it has a lot more going for it than any of the prior jerseys, and it kind of conveys the whole message of what exactly the parlay kits are for. Like, to be honest, if you saw any of the other parlay kits, you wouldn't know what they're plastic, the plastic recycled jerseys. I think this kind of drives home the point, and it's not a bad kit. I'm not going to buy it, but it's a solid kit.
We need to say hello to our dear friend Mike Thomas checking on in. Way more interesting than the past versions. I would tend to agree. Now, here's my thing. When it comes to these parlay jerseys, I love the message. I love what drives creating these jerseys. I'm just not a fan of these in particular. And, if anyone has noticed MLS jersey prices these days, they've kind of gotten pretty out of hand, if I'm being perfectly honest with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So to add another jersey, it's not really giving me enough for me to throw out the money for it. But it is definitely a better. I think this is better than what we've had years prior. I feel like years prior there was no effort into it, which I don't think you should be looking for too much effort when you're thinking of these. But if you're trying to sell some jerseys, you might want to. But I think this is definitely one of the better options. But I personally will not be purchasing this one. So we'll see how they do. We'll see. Maybe they do sell it. Maybe it does inspire a future kit, just like this year's our away kits were inspired by the 2019 playoff warm-up kit. So we'll see how that does.
And the Simpsons.
Well, who doesn't love the Simpsons, Justin? What's wrong with you? Justin, I have to throw you this question because I know you're more in tune with Champions League and Premier League. My boy Rio wants to know: Does Pep and Man City get it done? We're gonna go a little bit south real quick.
I don't know. They got the harder side of the draw because on one side you got the Milan derby, which is gonna be
that's dope. That's dope.
That's gonna be an amazing semifinal. But listen, Pep's going against Real, and whether you like it or not, I mean, the league is out of play for them. They are vying for the Copa del Rey trophy, but man, when it comes to UCL, it's something about Ancelotti, man, and he knows how to get the best out of Vinny Jr. and Benzema and Rodrigo turned up, and you have Valverde and Chouameni and Tony Kroos is still there, Luka Modric, and Thibaut Courtois has been a standout in the back, regarding the sticks, and it's just like they can rotate in anybody. And this is going to be a real matchup. And if they can get past Real Madrid, yeah, but that's a tall order to ask. So I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see, man. I need to get back in my Champions League game. It's a really really fun tournament, so for sure. But Justin, as we move forward here, real quick, just wanted to bring, because this is definitely a big deal for our club. Union announced this week the groundbreaking of the WSFS Bank Sportsplex. This was announced about a year ago, Justin, and now we're moving closer to it. Obviously, you being part of the board of Sons of Ben, you see how it's kind of already made some changes with the tailgate. I guess change. I wouldn't say situation, but change to the tailgates for Sons of Ben. So now, we've kind of marinated a little bit into this. How you feeling about the Sportsplex by Subaru Park?
I mean, first off, for the tailgate situation, I mean, we've adjusted pretty well. And
has it been better tailgates, you think, or just about the same?
Yeah, I think we've definitely tried to maximize the space. I think it's people are first of all, we finally got the lot tilled because we had a lot of issues with some big rocks, and it was kind of a
big rocks,
a hazard, an ankle, a tripping hazard. So the team did help,
especially around Sid, man,
to clear that up. But listen, I mean the goal of this complex is to bring the academy in the first team kind of all in one, as a lot of teams around the world kind of do. I mean, they had said that it was going to break ground at some point in April. I know by the end of the year, I believe it's the fields are supposed to be put in, and then the complex is supposed to be built. At least that's my understanding. But I think this is a step in the right direction. I know the goal, besides the academy coming down to Chester, is to bring there is going to be a lot of public use, to bring soccer in the area kind of to the Union, to kind of bring it full circle and kind of. I mean, listen, the one thing that the team has admittedly been called out on, and haven't been shy to answer it, is rallying soccer in the area, improving soccer in this area, and I think they're finally starting to really commit to that, especially with the academy, with the way the MLS Next and the feeder system kind of comes through. They're starting to kind of put their money where the mouth is, and I think I said this before. This has the potential really to be the next big step in helping to bridge the gap. Honestly, in economic disparity in soccer, I think that's a big thing in this country. We talk about pay to play, and that kind of being a crux, an unfortunate, crux of why we are just maybe a little bit behind other countries. But you know what? This is a great way to really bring things together. Hopefully, if it's done right, and approach with the careful measure that I hope that the team kind of understands with this. But I think this is a step in the right direction. I'm hopeful for this.
Yeah, but where am I supposed to park now? Dude, I'm used to parking in Lot B. Where am I supposed to park now? That's how we're always going to get that. But I feel the same way, Justin. I just think that this kind of just makes this more of a legitimate worldwide club, not just like an MLS power, but a worldwide power, because some of the best clubs in the world are doing exactly what the Union are in process of doing. And I think there's going to be other sports in the Sportsplex, right? Did I hear basketball court? Maybe some squish?
I know there's supposed to be a multi. Yeah, within the within that facility, I know there's supposed to be and I know there's supposed to be multi-use fields around the outside. So I'm going to be very interested to see. Hey, listen, maybe maybe in 2024, Casa starts playing. I'll drive down to the Union Stadium to
Okay, you feel me? Look at that.
listen. Sporting Serotonin would look real good on the right on the waterfront. I'm just saying,
Only if we can get the good dupes after goals.
Listen. Union, if you want to, contact us. Sporting Serotonin you can be reached at Sporting Serotonin and at Katrino93. Just a little plug here, a little plug.
Absolutely. Shouts to Paul, by the way. Shouts to Paul. You ready to talk some Chicago and some Philly?
Some Chicago.
The fire. All right. So Fire Union, we are back at it at Soldier Field. A late night game here. And of course, for the starting lineups for this bad boy, of course, as Justin would always say, in goal, who else but Mr. Andre Blake? Of course, your back line, Harriel, Elliott, Glazes, and Bizo. Your midfield, McGlynn at the left, Martinez at the 6, Bedoya at the right, Gazek at the tip of the diamond with Ure and Carranza as your forwards. And then, of course, yes, the Union did not start off this game on the right note. And Chicago did get the first goal in the 19th minute. Salise almost didn't get this goal. I mean, he struggled a little bit, but give kudos to Chicago. They got the 1-0. That would be it for the first half. In the second half, right to start in the 47th minute, poor Nathan Harriel, ball just deflects right off of his back. Nothing Blake can do there. And Chicago would go up 2-0. But then, I don't know what happened. We'll talk about it in a second. But something got turned on in the Union and in the attack, because we saw about 30 minutes of some great attacking soccer from this team, and they got 2 goals. 62nd minute, you got the PK that Carranza drew. Gazek buries it. And then 2 minutes later, the Union on the freaking counter attack. Quinn Sullivan with a beautiful cross. And then Gazek in the assist zone with Carranza wide open. They just tap that bad boy in. We get ourselves a 2-2 draw here between the Fire and the Union. Justin, look, not the best performance still, but the positive is we saw some good attacking football, soccer, whatever you want to call it, from the boys in blue in that second half. That 30-minute span was really good soccer, brother. What'd you think?
Yeah. So, like I said, I didn't watch the game live, so I did take a look back at the highlights. I will say on the first goal, I don't blame Nate on that one. If you look closely, Jack lets that run through, and I know Kai Kamara is pressing close, but I don't see a reason why Jack lets that through, because if you Nate is expecting, if I'm Nate, I am expecting Jack to get in the way of that, and that kind of creates the issue. I can understand just that split hesitation of Jack not going for it, then throws Nate off. The second one, that's just unfortunate.
Yeah, seriously, man.
You really any a step to the left or right, and he's not in. It's just one of those really bad spot and really bad timing. But listen, the difference with this team is they did not quit. That's one thing that this team does not give up.
I think Mike put it perfectly, Justin.
No, exactly. Listen, they still have the issues, but the difference over the last few years is they're not giving up. And Mikel Ua draws that foul right on the edge of the box. And Gazdag, listen, I mean, I want him taking every he's gonna be taking every PK, because the man has ice in his veins, and he knows when to step up. And not even 2 minutes later, Quinn with honestly a very nice move, because if you look, he baits the outside back.
That's
into stepping up, and all he does, he doesn't go towards the net. All he's trying to do is give himself that space, and he frees up about a half yard, and he just lost that thing in. And I assume obviously he was looking for Carranza, but it floats in perfectly to Daniel, and Daniel just heads that home and She-Host was slow on the take, and Carranza got in front and slotted that thing home. Now, we almost had the very first Brujo goal, because my lord, that thing, if you could dent a post, that thing could have ripped a hole in the post in the netting with.
It's a good shot.
What, it was. Listen, if maybe we just need to have him shoot from inside the box and not outside the box. Maybe that's the secret.
We're going to start making the T-shirts. If a Brujo scores from long distance, we run something. I don't know.
But I think the biggest thing, and listen, it might be an excuse, but it's a valid one. You had this team travel from Philadelphia to Cincinnati to Philly to Guadalajara to Chicago. Like, that's a lot of mileage, and the team put in an impressive, and I said that probably one of their best games of the season, impressive 2-2 result against Atlas. It was a lot to expect, and listen, Chicago's a decent team now. They're not as bad as I thought they were going to be beginning of the season, but you can tell they have some of the pieces. They just don't have it all together. And looking at this Union squad, yeah, they're kind of a bit of a mess right now, but they're still 1 point off of the pace, and with a win, you go right back into the middle of the pile. You're still in CCL with a very tough matchup midweek against LAFC. So, it's kind of one of those situations where if you can weather the storm for the first few months, I think if the Union can kind of hold into position where they can kind of still be in the middle of things as they are, then they'll be fine. But yeah, there are issues. But as Mike said, they're resilient, and they're never gonna back down. They're always gonna put their foot, they're gonna be on the front foot and always looking for that pressure. And I think that's something that you haven't seen from Union teams in the past in the last few years. That's definitely changed, and it's starting. That's why it's hard to pick against this team, because they just always seem to fight back.
I need an explanation here. What LAFC match did they move?
So they were supposed to be playing this weekend, and they're not anymore. As far as I'm,
what?
Obviously they said. At least that's mine. If I look, let's look at MLS Soccer. This actually, I was kind of hearing.
So do we have to play too? Can we reschedule Toronto? Or?
Actually, no. I'm looking. It says Nashville plays LAFC on Saturday. As far as I can,
dude, next week.
As far as I can see, they're still playing. Unless MLS Soccer is
MLS Soccer.
Unless MLS is MLS is.
They moved their game against Houston next week. Wait, so
the Union don't have a game next week, so that doesn't really matter. I mean, they don't have a game next weekend. That's one thing. So
they need this bad.
I genuinely think they I know they're playing so well, but it's one of those, man. This feels like a very, very short window kind of a thing. Bowanga's off to a really hot start. That's great,
dude. He's on fire.
But man, that team is thin. Otherwise, because Galaxy are garbage, so I can't really take that game much with a grain of salt. So I mean, listen, they're good. It's not for dispute, but they're not going to be able to be held up by Dennis Bowanga all season.
All right, so this season started on February 25th. It is April 19th today. The Union played 11 matches. Now, I mean, I'm sure LAFC's probably played something similar to that, but that's still a lot of soccer in what we're talking less than 2 months, a little less than 2 months.
and that's what I've been trying. Like, and I think that's what you've seen. That's what Jim said. That's what I've been trying to tell people. Listen, the team's focus has been CCL, and it's shown. They've been advanced. They've advanced. This is going to be a big matchup. But like it. But that's the thing. Like you're gonna actually get a full week of rest before the second leg against LAFC, and I think that'll be big. I think that'll be an absolutely big help, because then you're going to have second leg against LAFC and then on the road against Red Bull. I think that'll be a big help to have that little bit of a break, to give the team more time to rest, time to listen. They really haven't had a rest much this season. So like getting that little bit of a built-in break is going to be key.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So like when you look at as we're finishing up this matchup here, so like when you look at the fact that they had to travel from Guadalajara in a tough environment, big pressure match, go to Chicago, and then you got to come back home now. Like that's just rough as it is. So especially traveling in this league is never easy. So take any point that you can. So I mean, I've had like the same thought as Mike. Even like you look at Wednesday's match. Like you still you had to stress it out a little, like sweat it out a little bit. Atlas didn't start off on the best note either, but they still found a way to get the job done. It doesn't matter how it looks, you just get the job done, and that's the one thing that they clearly understand, and that's what has to make every fan feel optimistic going forward.
At the end of the day, as I said, they're doing enough in the league to stay competitive. Because obviously once CCL's over, they can obviously put their focus into the league. Like that's kind of the whole point. So, and I've said this, the first few months of the season do not matter as much. Once it comes to the summer, yes, absolutely. But okay, first parts of this first couple months of the season can help, but we've seen teams falter in the second half of the season. We've seen teams climb the second half of the season. It's going to, and we all forget the summer window. We talk about teams like Cincinnati. Cincinnati could lose 2 of their front 3, which they still have no depth. I will still repeat that. They still have no depth. And they could slip.
They're still banking on that hill, man.
New England is kind of a weird situation. There's a lot that can happen in the next few months, which is why the Union are perfectly positioned. And again, it's still early, it's still tight. And again, you've played more games than other teams. Of course, you're going to be just a little bit more tired. It's early the season, but you still played more. You talked about playing up to 55, 60 games this season. That's a lot of games. And I know you expected that, but still, that's a lot. And so it's something that I've been trying to tell people to approach with a grain of salt and try to understand that once you get through this early period, you'll be good. And I think, and I'm hoping people are starting to kind of look at that and realize that the Union are still in a prime position, and they've got a matchup this weekend against a team that, could at this point feels like break the record for straws in a season, because Jesus Christ.
Yeah, man. Well, let's get into this matchup here. So Philly coming back finally. We're going to be back at home to face off against TFC. It's going to be the first matchup this season against Toronto, 7:30 matchup. I think last year we play them in the last match of the season. We spanked them 4-0.
That was when I knew they
gave up on the season.
They'd been eliminated, and the Italians were right. Insigne was hurt, but Bernardeschi got mossed off the field, and they just got Gazdag. Gazdag had that killer volley. It was I remember that game. That was a nice warm up for the playoff run.
So as you mentioned, these guys are like unbeaten in like their last 6, but yeah, it's like all draws for sure. So definitely take that with a grain of salt. I think they're like one position ahead of us in the Eastern Conference, which like
literally one. And again, it's because of the draws.
And it's also April, but yes, they are just one position ahead of us. But yeah, it just still like kind of feels this year, Justin. Like I know they try to improve upon the defense, which I saw. Like they're not allowing a lot of goals, but now
And they did sign Sean Johnson. Like that was a helpful.
yeah, oh yeah, for sure. But like the goals aren't coming, and obviously Insigne's dealing with his injury. But yeah, like you're gonna really rely on like the Tigers from kicking and screaming on the Italians over there.
And I haven't seen the injury report, but I know Insigne went off with an injury, I believe, in the last game. So it'll be interesting to see if he plays, or if he does, he comes off the bench, because I mean Bernardeschi is their leading scorer right now, but the scoring's kind of thin after that.
All right, I have to ask. This may sound like very like just Homer MLS fan, because obviously I'm just all unioned up, but does Insigne really see this as the next challenge, or does he see this as like post Napoli days?
I honestly, like, I don't know, because
am I outlandish for thinking that, Justin? Like,
no, well, because he keeps getting hurt, so like he can't.
What are you doing on your off time, bro? Like, why are you getting hurt every second?
And that's the thing, like it's not even like he's always because he's out of shape. Like, no, he just keeps getting hurt all the damn time. And it's like dude can't stay on the field for more than
he's pretty durable for Napoli, I'll tell you that.
Which is funny because like I'm sure like Lazio and Elche and and Milan and Inter and like in Roma, like sure all those teams were just annihilating him.
Yeah, he's like 5'6", like 5'6".
Yeah, like he's not a big man. So like I genuinely don't know what is happening to him.
Dude, they just can't find luck with these wingers, dude. They find these, and like Insigne is like one of the best like Italian players of all time, I would say, and like he's just it is just very interesting. But Jim gets to see his old friend Bob Bradley, and it should be fun. Every time it's Bradley and Jim, it is fun. You kind of get like that teacher student vibes, the Padawan learner versus the Jedi master. And obviously
it's the Bradley coaching tree.
It's like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader. So actually, that's a bad one because Jim's younger. So we're going to ignore that one. But regardless, it's still going to be a fun matchup between the two. But I mean, the thing is, this is definitely much more open than before because of the fact that, Toronto has their offensive issues. The Union just need to keep pace. But hopefully, with a full week off, maybe this is just enough of what they need to get enough goals to get it past Toronto, Justin.
We'll see. I like they haven't been giving up many goals, but it doesn't mean that their defense hasn't.
They don't have those weaknesses.
Like it doesn't mean that they haven't been like they haven't been like. I mean, listen, one of their games was 3-3. Like I don't think they're going to be scoring 3 goals in a game that frequently.
Yeah,
and I think against better defenses like the Union, I think that's a more challenging prospect.
I'm interested about the right side of Toronto, and let's see if they do start Sarvenia on the right side of the midfield. But I mean, we know Richie Larea very well. I mean, especially very well with CONCACAF. But I mean, he's a really good fullback. Like I'd put him up there in the league as one of the best in the league. And then of course you have Bernardeschi on that side. So you're looking at that right hand side. We'll see what Kai Wagner's status is going to be for Saturday. Jim did seem to think that he would be ready. Real quick, also Damien and Leon should be ready for Saturday as well, according to Jim today. But I'm interested to see with that right side of the Toronto attack going up against our left side. We'll see if that's Leon or if that's Jack. That's also another decision. I'm assuming Jack. We'll get to that in a second. I'm probably looking too far ahead. But the left-hand side of Philly versus the right-hand side of Toronto is really what I'm going to be intrigued by, Justin, on Saturday night.
Yeah, It definitely is. Like Kai, like I hope they're not trying to rush Kai back after we saw that
Right, man.
that a bit of a setback. So it's gonna be very interesting to see because I mean realistically I feel like you would start Matt Real on that side who can absolutely do a solid job defensively. I don't think that's any.
But do you think he would actually go back to that, or because like he obviously loved, and I don't blame him because Nate is such a good defender. But you kind of saw a little bit in that Chicago match, kind of how the weaknesses do get highlighted when he has to play on that side.
I don't know. I mean, I think also this is also Jim just kind of rotating and kind of like he's talked about the thing. Like he mentioned that he's going to be rotating, and yet it doesn't bring a lot of cohesion in terms of the guys playing together. But like they train together, they like it hasn't really affected the cohesion per se, and so I don't know. I think you like realistically you're going to want. Against this Toronto team, you're gonna want Olivier in there to kind of open things up. And if I'm like, I know you might want to throw Nate in there, but maybe if you did I feel like if you did a back three, but then that would be, in the same similar situation to we had against Cincy. But like, I think you're gonna want to open things up, and I think Montreal does offer you both ways, so I wouldn't be surprised if Jim risked it and threw on Matt Real and Olivier as the outside backs.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me for sure, but we'll see what he does there. I'm just like, Toronto's obviously still got their issues on defense. I'm just like, I'm thinking in this one because you had the week off. I really want to test that back line of Toronto. And I want to press them because I know they can be suspect to turnover. So I that's definitely one thing I would love to see them try to do. And I'm curious if our boy Michael Bradley starts. He's been in and out with Toronto.
Oh no! Listen, he's him and Brad Guzan are on the list for me of embarrassments to the guild of bald soccer players. So I that man I will boo that man every time I see him. Have done it. Will always do it. Him and his father. They're Bob gets respect because he's a well coach, but his son's just a little shit.
He always like, I still remember that first game 2019, and they come into town and I'm like, they were gonna win this game. They just played CCL, they're tired, and then it just didn't happen that way. And I just remember Michael Bradley, he just pissing me off that night. And I had no beef towards him before that. And after that game, I had a disdain, I had a hate towards Michael Bradley. He's Mr. TFC now.
That's what he does. He's Mr. Something, all right.
At least Josie Altidore not there anymore as well. Then.
Good.
All right, let's get it. Where's he at? Is he still in New England?
No, he's in Mexico, I believe.
Did they buy him out at what was it?
I believe so. I believe he went back down to Mexico as far as I was aware. I haven't heard much from him.
That's fun, man. That's see now Liga MX is the retirement league. There you go, Justin.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get into some lineup predictions here, man. So this is the intriguing part because obviously next week is the big one, right? We don't have to remind everyone what is next week, but you got to keep that in mind. But you also do need. It's been a while since we had 3 points in league play, so I guess it's Chicago. Since Chicago at home, we haven't had 3 points in the league. So we're kind of long overdue. So it'd be nice to get some 3 points more. So obviously in goal, we're going with Andre, right? Obviously. The back line is the tough part. The left back is the toughest part. I mean, I think you got to rest Kai. If he's like, I don't even think he's 100%.
I think you put him on the bench. I think
yeah,
you put him on the bench. Get him warm ups if you can, have him see out the game, get some minutes in, because I think you rushed him on against Atlas, and it was clear that he wasn't full because he also really hadn't gotten time. So like, if you can maybe throw him in on some minutes, throw him on the bench, but I don't think he should start.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. So if Lowe is good to go, how do you not start him? Or unless you really do want to keep him for it, because Elias, he's got some shifty forward. You might want to keep him for that.
Yeah, I think you keep the Elliott Glasnost pairing for, because I mean the low Glasnost pairing has worked well for CCL, so I don't think you want to mess with that if you can keep Damien. Again, it's one of those, put him on the bench, but don't play him if you don't have to.
For sure, man, for sure. I think I'm going Harriel in this one on the right.
Think I'm still leaning towards Matty Real, and that's just me. I
on the right hand or the left?
On the left.
I'm going Matty on the left, Nate on the right. I'm keeping Olivier for LAFC.
Yeah, I for me, see,
it is tough.
Yeah, now that I think about it, I think having Matty on the left and Nate on the right, if you're gonna balance it, that might probably be fair. I think I'll go with that.
Yeah, Nate can play all the games. He's good, man. The midfield. This is another interesting one. Where do we go with the left? We go. I
think you gotta go Jack.
Yeah, I think you gotta go Jack too. Leon, I think he got what's those quarter zone shots or whatever it may be, but
and also Jack, like,
not 100%.
And I think the nice thing about Jack is Jack will still, he's not gonna do obviously all the defensive coverage, but like he gives you enough that he can ping those balls in behind, and I think that's been helping.
Yeah,
to open up some teams over the top. I think especially.
You see him go back deeper too, kind of like almost at that fullback position, and like you know how his vision, it helps him, especially with that long ball.
And I think the way he's been doing it, especially, essentially been kind of playing closer to, like, kind of more in front of Brujo. So really, you're kind of playing like a 4-1-1-2-2, like because you're if I'm doing the math right, yeah, I'm doing the math right. Because you obviously you have Brujo kind of close to the front line. You have Jack playing not too far off of him, which gives Daniel and Ali the space to kind of play up a little higher and stay closer to the forwards. And I think that's been helping. So I think that kind of gives you the space to allow, and also to allow guys like the space to come back on the ball and let Ali make those runs.
Okay. At the 6,
I think you're gonna have Brujo. I think
Brogan.
I just feel like why change it at this point? Like at this I can't see any reason why you would change him out at this point.
That one I'm down with. The one though I would say is I would like to rest Ali for this one. At least have him coming off of the bench, because I do want Ali for LAFC.
Yeah, but I also could see throwing in Pereira at least for part of the game against LAFC, if you wanted to, or giving Ali time and then throwing Pereira in the second half in this game, which is what I think we'll do. I don't think they'll let Ali go full game if they're up.
I agree, man. I agree. Gazak at the 10. I think Gazak starts.
Oh yeah, Daniel, they will play every game. Come on, that's a at this point that definitely feels like a written in permanent marker. If he's in the 18, if he's here, he's on international duty or hurt. He's like, and I think he's also one of those guys that like Jim isn't gonna pull him out. Like realistically, it's gonna be rare that a game that he's not starting.
You know what? You know who else too kind of feels a little bit automatic these days is Carranza. Ure, like Jim will sit him out for just for fitness, for rest. But Carranza kind of just feels if he's available, he's not suspended, or some weird transfer rule with Inter Miami, which is finally done by the way. But it feels like he's permanent marker in there all the time as well. So I do think that those two will be the forwards. But I mean, Justin, like the rotation has been interesting. I will say that it has been interesting, especially with the fact Pereira and Torres haven't seen too many minutes over the past couple games. But we'll see how Jim does rotate. It is crucial because I mean we see LAFC. I mean we saw LAFC a couple months ago, and it's kind of hard to you don't ever want to overlook anybody, especially a team like Toronto, who you never know when they can turn it up, but it is tough, man. We just had a tough time doing these lineups.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the way that the way it's kind of been. Like it's again we're in a weird part of the year where like the fact that that CCL was wrapped up by the end of May. It's just kind of a weird it's a weird scenario.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. What's the weather going to be like Saturday? Have you got any word?
It's supposed to be decent for the day, and then I think at night there's potential for rain. Is what I've been hearing.
No, don't you dare say this, Justin.
I'm telling you, someone told me, and my uncle told me today, and I looked at the weather, and sure enough, Saturday night, it's supposed to rain.
Like, what's Saturday night mean?
Like
7:30.
It could change. I mean, we've seen it, but as of today, it's been
that is a drive. But hey, listen, if they get 3 points, it definitely will help. But let's get to predictions. Justin, what do you see happening Saturday night?
Listen, I think I've been saying this. You want to make a statement. You've started to play better, obviously. At last midweek, I think Cincinnati, you played well, despite the rotated lineup. Chicago, you rebounded. You did have the chance to win. I think Toronto is one of those teams that they seem to do enough to at least get a point, but they don't seem to be doing enough to get the wins. Whether it be blowing it late or just scratching to come back. I think it's going to be a tough one, but I think this will be a good test, not for the skill level of LAFC, but for the grittiness, be able to grind out those results, and especially because you're gonna be playing that first leg at home. This is going to be a big. Do you set the tempo for this game? I think the Union will come out 2-1, and as I've said. If the Union can dominate, the Union can dominate the midfield, and they can force this Toronto defense, which isn't leaky, but they're not exactly airtight. Like we've seen games where they've 2-2 against Atlanta, 3-3 against San Jose, 3-2 against DC. Like. They have this. They just have this. They have the ability to score a worldie, and then they have the ability to give up one, just that quickly. So it's going to be a close game, obviously, but I think the Union will do the Union have that key factor to just eke this one out.
I found interesting today's press conference, Justin. Someone asked Jim about the attack of Toronto. How to defend an attack like Toronto. Jim just pretty much blatantly saying the way the Union play, the way they play so compact, they have confidence and trust the team that they can neutralize attacks like Toronto, even if they're at 100%, even if they have 100% Lorenzo Insigne. And you need to get back to that or play that physical style of soccer. And that is what I think will get it done on Saturday. I feel the win is going to come on Saturday. Rain, sun, whatever it is, they're going to win on Saturday. Toronto FC, Torino FC, Tottenham, I don't care. We're winning on Saturday.
Listen, as I called in my article, they're Toronto's Little Italy FC. And as Will Ferrell's character in Kicking and Screaming says, just pass it to the Italians.
Don't send me Italianos. Dude, I think I want to watch that. It's been a while since I watched that one. It's a good one, man. It's a good one. I think, you know what, Justin? I think it's going to be a 2-0 win. I think they're going to shut them out. I think you're going to get a Gaz Daddy goal, not from the PK. Listen, it's great, and he's good at that. But I want some Gaz Daddy goals. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want some of those beautiful,
Gaz Daddy magic.
Gaz Daddy magic. That's exactly what I want on Saturday.
Listen, honestly, that would make a great T-shirt. I'm just saying. I know we're gonna probably get approval, but like some Gaz Daddy magic. Just
that does sound really, really good, man. Wow. Why do we always come up with these great T-shirt ideas on the pod?
Listen. It also unfortunately hurts when that kind of stuff involves probably talking with a legal team, and it just creates so many headaches. So we're like, great ideas. We can't do it.
pretty much. But yes, I got a 2-0 victory here. That's gonna do it today, guys, for this edition of Dupe by the River. We really do appreciate everyone tuning on in. You guys enjoy the match on Saturday. Please stay dry as well. Please stay safe there. If you do happen to see Justin, throw him a beer too.
Or I'll throw you a beer or two. Listen, if you come by the Sons of Ben tailgates, come say hi. I will be in my usual spot, slinging those state sides and the Trulies and the beers. Man, I'm
out there now. What?
Oh yeah, dude.
Wait,
we got state sides. Yeah, man.
Y'all stop playing. Y'all got state sides out there?
Oh yeah, they're a sponsor now, man.
Man, listen, Sons of Ben, we're doing big things in 2023, man. Look at that. I love it, man. I love it. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this edition of Dupe by the River. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe for more here of live viewings of Dupe by the River. Of course, follow us as well on Twitter. And, of course, find us River Stream Podcast. Find us on the Dupe by the River Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Justin Glesnes, Rocket Division, Friedberg. Of course, I go by the name of El Parcero Philly. We're telling you